In the mid-18th century, America was not yet a free country. It was a collection of 13 British colonies along the Atlantic coast. The people there worked hard, followed British laws, and paid heavy taxes. But deep inside, a new idea was growing: the idea of freedom and independence. The real trouble began when the British government started to impose unfair taxes on the colonies. After the French and Indian War, Britain was heavily in debt and wanted the colonies to help pay for it. So they introduced laws like the Stamp Act and the Tea Act, forcing Americans to pay taxes without having any say in the British Parliament. This gave birth to the famous slogan, "No taxation without representation." The colonists believed it was unfair to be taxed by a government in which they had no voice. Protests and boycotts spread all across the colonies. The spirit of resistance had begun. In 1773, the anger of the colonists reached its peak with the event known as the Boston Tea Party. A group of Americans disguised as Native Americans boarded British ships and dumped hundreds of chests of tea into the Boston harbor. This act of defiance shocked the British government. In response, they passed strict laws known as the Intolerable Acts, closed the harbor, and sent more soldiers to control the people. But instead of breaking their spirit, this made the colonies even more united. The 13 colonies started to realize that they had to stand together to fight for their rights and their future. Then came 1775. The first shots of the American Revolution were fired at Lexington and Concord. No one knew it then, but that day marked the beginning of a long and difficult war for independence. The colonists quickly formed an army called the Continental Army, with George Washington as their commander. At first, the American side was weak. They lacked weapons, training, and money. But they had one powerful advantage: their determination to be free. A year later, something truly historic happened. On July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed in Philadelphia. Written mainly by Thomas Jefferson, this document declared that all men are created equal and that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. With this declaration, the colonies no longer saw themselves as British subjects. They were now Americans, ready to fight for their freedom no matter the cost. The war continued for several years. It was hard, bloody, and uncertain. But the Americans did not give up. They gained support from France, which sent soldiers, ships, and money to help them. Together, they won several important battles, the most famous being the Battle of Yorktown in 1781. That victory marked the end of major fighting and proved that the impossible could be achieved. Finally, in 1783, the Treaty of Paris was signed. Britain officially recognized the independence of the United States of America. The 13 colonies had become one free nation. The dream that had begun in the hearts of a few brave people had now become a reality. The American Revolution was not just a war for land or power. It was a fight for ideas, freedom, equality, and the right of people to govern themselves. It changed not only America, but the world. It showed ordinary people, when united by a dream, can defeat even the most powerful empire. And that spirit of liberty continues to inspire nations and people across the globe, even today.